Hello. So I'm curious, how many of you would like to help a whole lot more people with your business? And how many of you would like to make a lot more money doing it? In fact, how many of you would like to get to that next level in your business, that top rank, like you'd love to get to that top? But how many of you feel like you have a flood of noise, and I mean a ton of noise in your head that's getting in the way of making that stuff happen? In fact, according to the National Science Foundation, the average person has up to 50,000 thoughts a day. So if you subtract 8 hours for sleeping, that's a thought a second. Guys, that's a lot of noise. My name is Brandon Barber. I'm with the Brandon Barber Coaching Group, and I've studied that noise over the last 20 years to really understand what is that stuff, what's going on there, what's creating issues, what's causing people to not get to that next level, what's holding them back. And today I'm going to go through with you what I believe to be the three tricky truths that hold people back and get them stuck and keep them at a certain level instead of getting to that next level financially, leadership-wise, helping more people, and really how to help their team propel to the next level. I'm going to show you the three things that I think get people stuck. But before we do that, one of my favorite sayings is, success is a conscious choice. So do me a favor, pick your right hand up, go ahead, your right hand, pick it up, and wrap it around and pat yourself on the back and say, good choice for being here. Good choice for listening to this information. And pat the person back next to you and say, good choice for being here. Good job. Way to be here. Way to show up. Person on the other side, pat him on the back and say, good choice for being here. Yeah, success is a conscious choice. Just like happiness is, just like passion is, just like joy. I'll tell you a little bit about me briefly so you know why to listen to me for the next 15 minutes or so. My name's Brandon Barber with the Brandon Barber Coaching Group, and I've had the privilege to help over 500,000 individuals, network marketers, direct sales individuals, professionals, and entrepreneurs over the last 20 years. And we've really helped people with two things: the science of achievement, which is getting to that next level in their business, making more money, creating more success in their life. And that's the easy part. You might go, that doesn't sound very easy. It's easy because success leaves clues. So helping people get to that next level, we've definitely done a lot of success and help people achieve a lot of success. The thing I'm the most proud of is the art of fulfillment. It's an art because it's different for everybody. And so the thing I'm the most proud of is helping people get to that next level from a fulfillment place, really helping serve them at a higher level so that when they're creating success, it's finding the joy and passion in every moment along the way. Otherwise, if you just become successful without the fulfillment, what is that? That's the ultimate failure, isn't it? You think about some of the people in our pop culture who have had lots of success and not a lot of fulfillment. So listen, the reason I do what I do started 30 years ago. And it started from me in a place where I was literally in a state of agoraphobia. Agoraphobia means you are afraid to leave your house. And it stemmed from having a panic attack a day for 3 years. I had so much anxiety. I struggled with immense amount of anxiety to the point where it led to depression. And then it led to this absolute I was scared of being alive. I was scared of everything. I was afraid of being afraid. And what it did in that 3 years is it woke me up. It woke me up to finding solutions. It woke me up to finding and becoming resourceful in figuring out how the brain works. I went on a search, I went on a tear to try to figure out what in the world was creating this anxiety, what was causing this stress, what was causing this mental illness in my brain. And I went through thousands and thousands of hours of books and research and webinars and seminars. And I mean, you name it, I went on a search, I went on a tear to find it. And here's what I found. I found some interesting things. Number one, the brain has one job, and that brain is to keep you alive, not to make you happy, not to make you successful, but to keep you alive. And so I know this: a brain left undirected will always create suffering. And listen, our brain likes to keep us alive, so it'll negotiate with us. I'll give you an example of negotiation. A few years ago, I did this thing with a guy called Wim Hof. Wim Hof is the Iceman. The Iceman was this guy that said, Hey, if you embody cold into your system, it changes everything. Cold does everything. It creates a better mental awareness. It creates a better body. It does all these things when you get in the cold. He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in a pair of shorts twice. He's run a half marathon in the Arctic Circle barefooted. I mean, this guy's it's cold. But I'm going to do his program, and part of his program is you've got to get engaged in a cold shower. And what happens is the first week you do a 30-second cold shower. The next week you do a minute cold shower, and then 2, then 5, then 10, then ice baths. So I'm like, I'm going to do this program. So the first day I'm thinking about it, and here I go to do this program, and I'm in the shower, and I'm taking a hot shower, and I'm starting to think about the cold shower, and my brain starts to go, ooh, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, should we do this cold shower? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. I got to do this. I got to take this on. My brain's already starting to negotiate with me, right? And so it's time to take a cold shower, and I turn all the hot water off, and I step out of the water. And my brain goes, that's cold. I'm not going to do this. And I go, I know it's cold, but I got to do the Wim Hof thing. And my brain goes, that's painful. Don't do it. I'm like, I got to do this thing. I got to be engaged in it. The negotiation's starting, right? How many of you negotiate? How many of you know this negotiation? So I'm like, I got to do this thing. Come on, let's step into it. Do this cold shower thing. I got to make it happen. I paid my money for this. I got to do it. Brain's like, nope, don't do it. It's scary. It's going to be harmful. Maybe you should start this thing in July, and it's December. And I'm like, no, I got to do this thing. And my brain says, well, maybe you should put an arm in. So I put an arm in. And I'm going, that's not it. I got to put my whole body in. So finally I stop negotiating with my brain and I say, brain, you've got to listen to what I'm telling you to do. Step into this cold shower. Do it now. And I step into the cold shower and I take cold showers. And then I do a minute and 3 and 5 and so on. And I finish the program. But it was a good illustration and helping me understand how I negotiate with my brain, how my brain wants to protect me. And so stepping out of my comfort zone, it says, I don't know if that's a good idea. So listen, I want to give you the 3 tricky truths. What I believe to be the 3 tricky truths that I think hold people back and keep them stuck and keep them in that comfort zone from really taking it to that next level. So here's tricky truth number 3. After studying the brain for 20 years and working with over 500,000 individuals, here's what I find holds people back. One of the tricky truths that hold people back more than anything else. They rebel against the cause. Here's what I mean by that. There's a part of your brain that says, don't control me. Don't tell me what to do. I don't want to be controlled and told what to do. Which is really interesting because there's like part of you that'll say at times, I just wish somebody would tell me what to do. And then the leader or upline in your organization says, here's what to do, and you avoid doing it. Don't control me and tell me what to do. It feels controlling, it feels restrictive. I don't want to be controlled and restricted. And that may even include from yourself. So when you tell yourself, from now on, I'm going to do this. From now on, I go make this happen. Your brain goes, I don't think so. I'll give you an example. In my life, it happens whenever I pass a Starbucks coffee. And I look in the Starbucks coffee and I look at all those casings and I look at, oh my gosh, this is going to be incredible. This food is so amazing. Look at it. It's the lemon bars and the cookies and the muffins and all that stuff. I pass by and my brain goes, you can't eat that though. I look at it and it looks so good. You can't eat that. This part of my thought process, the rebel against the cause, shows up and says, oh yeah? Watch me. In fact, I'll have one of each if I really want. Don't tell me what to do. So I rebel against my very cause, which is not eating bad food. How do you rebel against your cause? What if it's not picking up the phone and making phone calls? Or you go to make phone calls and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. From now on, I'm not going to make that happen. You rebel against the very things you tell yourself to do. Isn't that interesting? Instead of surrendering to discipline. And then what's interesting is distractions start to show up like crazy. How many of you have distractions on a daily basis? In fact, I know the average person gets 1 interruption literally every 8 minutes. So that's 7 interruptions in an hour. I'm doing the math here in my head. That's 50 or 60 a day. The average interruption takes about 5 minutes. So that's literally 4 hours of your day that's spent in interruption or distraction. In fact, I saw another study the other day that says we check our phones 120 times a day. Here's the kicker. 80% of the times we check our phone or 80% of our distractions or interruptions have little or no value. That means 3 hours of your day is spent in interruptions or distractions that have 0 value. And your brain might welcome that stuff. Anything to avoid being told what to do. I don't want to be restricted. I don't want to schedule myself in. I don't want to be controlled. And it avoids it and goes and does other things. It also leads to multitasking. How many of you think multitasking is healthy? Here's what's interesting about multitasking. If you perform two things at once or try to perform two things at once, it's the equivalent. It literally kills 10 IQ points in that moment. I think a study by UCLA University said 10 IQ points in that moment. That's the equivalent of not sleeping for 36 hours. And we multitask to avoid doing the things we tell ourselves to do. And there's massive damages to multitasking. It creates stress, it creates burnout, error rates go up, anxiety, depression even, all from multitasking. One of the most impactful places you can be is what's called a state of flow. Flow is where you're focused on one thing at one time. There's a book out there called The Rise of Superman. I don't know if you've read it, but it's about these adventure athletes and why these adventure athletes do what they do. Well, we think they're adrenaline junkies, but come to find out it's not adrenaline at all they're after. It's flow. In other words, what happens is when they go to do an activity, like get pulled into a 90-foot wave by a wave runner, their brain goes, all I can focus on right now is this wave and that's it. And it goes into this 100% focused moment and they have this perfect cocktail happen in their brain. It's the right amount of serotonin, the right amount of norepinephrine, the right amount of dopamine. And they have this perfect cocktail and they literally go in this euphoric state because they were present. They were in the moment, flow. So they're really flow junkies. And this lasts for days, sometimes weeks after this feeling good. So staying present, staying in flow is a very, very powerful place to be. Being in the moment. Now, tricky truth number 2. So we got through 1, right? Avoiding or not doing the things you tell yourself to do. It's that rebel against the cause. Number 2 is what I found a lot of network marketers and direct sales forget to do is to find joy in the journey. They just forget to do it. And here's why. The fantasizer comes out in them. In other words, we fantasize what we want to have. We do this thing where we build castles in the sky, right? We build these fantasies up here in the sky. And listen, I am 100% all about building a castle in the sky. We got to create the dreams. We got to create the visions that we want. But here's what happens. A lot of times we get so attached to our visions, so attached to what we want, so attached to the outcomes, that it makes the gap between what we want to have happen and reality a nightmare. So in other words, I got to arrive already. I got to get there. How many of you just need to be making more money? I just need to arrive already. When I get there, then I will finally. And we forget to find joy in the journey. See, I think healthy, normal people build castles in the sky. Neurotics furnish the castle. Psychotics move in. So what if we were to build a castle in the sky, have a dream and vision, then come back and build it brick by brick? Because what happens is when we get too attached to the vision or what we want to have happen, anything that comes up differently in life, any reality that shows up, we have this thing called an amygdala hijack. The amygdala is the part of your brain that creates fight, flight, or freeze. And it sends us down this lousy state of stress. All because we visualized how it's supposed to look. And then we created an expectation of how we think it should be. And then reality shows up differently. It's like fighting with the weather. It's like waking up and it's raining and you say it's supposed to be sunny. And fighting with the weather, what happens? The weather always wins because it is what it is. So we end up thinking, we create an expectation of how we want things to be. And then we come back to reality and it's not that way. How many of you feel like you should be further along in your business? Expectations. And you got attached to the outcome and then you don't find as much joy in the journey and therefore you don't do the activity day to day to get there. The work to get from here to where you want to get to looks so daunting, it's like, why bother? It's just too much. I just want to get there already. And that's the damage of creating too high of expectations. We know there's one secret. There's literally one secret. When you create vision boards, goal posters, whatever they are, make sure they're not just the outcomes. Make sure they're not just the trips and the cars and the money. Those are great, and I say, yes, have those things in your goal poster. But then create the process as well. Like focus on the activity as well. People, engaging with people, working with people, changing people's lives, impacting people. How many of you are thinking, oh my gosh, what I could achieve in this business if I didn't have to involve people. But you know, people are what's going to get you to that next level. So it's people, guys. If you focus more on changing people's lives and less on the outcomes, a lot more joy in the process. So remember, healthy people creates these castles in the sky. Just don't furnish them and get so attached to them and move in. And I know some of the books and CDs tell us that. But then it creates these expectations, and then we become critical. Easily critical of things. In fact, watch how easily you can be critical. Notice around you right now in this room 3 things you can be critical of. Not my room, because I just have a white wall, although you might say my white wall or my head or my shirt or whatever, but think about something in that room you're critical of. Go ahead, find something. I'm sure there's a clock messed up somewhere, or there's carpet that doesn't look, or there's a mess somewhere, or there's something out of place, there's some painting, or you don't like the lighting, or it's too cold or too hot. There's something to be critical of. Find what's critical. Criticize it. Be critical. What have you been critical so far in what you've looked at in the situation you're in right now? Today so far, what have you been critical of? And how does it feel to be critical? It doesn't feel good. It feels lousy. It's not good to feel critical. It doesn't feel good. But that's what happens when we create an expectation. We create an expectation, then we criticize. So what do we do with those criticisms? What do we do with those expectations? Because here's the deal. Overachievers are not going to say, Brandon, I'm not going to just settle. I would never settle. I would never just settle for what is. But here's what I would do. I would want to find as many appreciations as I possibly could. So I'm not going to tell you to eliminate your expectations. I'm going to tell you to trade your expectations for an appreciation. The minute you find yourself an expectation, find something to appreciate. Maybe I'm thinking inside, I've done a great job at talking to you right now. But then I'm like, wait a second, I'm putting this together. I'm putting forth my effort. I care. I want to make changes in your life. I found something to appreciate the minute I'm critical. Everything you were critical in that room, the carpet, the lighting, the temperature, find something to appreciate. You can be critical of that chair that you're sitting in because it was created by the lowest bidder, right? Think about that. The thing supporting your butt and your back was created by the lowest bidder. But what can you appreciate about it? You got a chair, you're sitting. You're not standing. I'm standing right now. Think about the temperature. If it's too cold, it's keeping you awake. If it's too hot, it's helping you feel your body. What about that painting? Think about the person that created that painting. The carpet. Think about the person that put the effort into that carpet. The carpet's also covering any dirt that's there, so you don't see how dirty it is. The minute you find something you're critical of, find something to appreciate it. That's trading your expectations for appreciations, and that's finding joy in the moment. Because gratitude, guys, gratitude. If you're in gratitude, it's interesting. If you're in frustration, we could run an EEG and an EKG, and we study the two. So in other words, the EKG and the EEG, brain and heart, when you're frustrated or you're critical, would be like brain would be doing this and heart would be down here doing this. They'd be off kilter, right? They wouldn't be together. But if you're in gratitude, and we do an EKG and an EEG, and I mean real gratitude, where you're finding what you appreciate in that moment deeply. We find heart and brain, EKG and EEG, they actually are synonymous. They work together. So appreciation, gratitude, you know the power of that. I don't have to tell you that, but the problem is most people don't find joy in the journey because they're so focused on the outcomes. They're focused on what's out here. They're focused on getting there and arriving. What if all you needed to remember in life, all you needed to remember is that life was happening for you and not to you? Something to feel about. So here we go. Number one. Now make sure you're moving your body. The number one tricky truth. Move around, make sure you move around. Pat the person on your back, say, come on, wake up. Go ahead, wake up. Get the person next to you, wake up. Let's go, wake up. If there's not a person next to you, wake yourself up. Tricky truth number one that holds people back from getting to that next level. It's no secret, it's habits. People blindly follow their habits. Did you know bad habits have more traction than good intentions? So literally we follow our bad habits. Habits. That's it. When we blindly follow our habits, that's what gets us stuck. And again, these bad habits, think about one bad habit of yours. What's one bad habit of yours right now? One bad habit. One thing that's holding you back. It's not good, it's not healthy, it's one bad habit. Think about it. Take a minute. What's one bad habit? Now, do you know what thought process or subconscious thought process that's driving that habit? Do you know what's causing the issue? What's getting in the way? Benjamin Franklin said that our net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your good habits are subtracted from your bad ones. What's your bad habit? And what's driving that bad habit? What's the thought process? What's the emotion? See, subconscious and conscious are very different. Your conscious mind, it's like if you were riding a horse. Your conscious mind, you're the rider of the horse. The subconscious is the horse. Who's in control? You might feel like you're in control, but the minute the horse is triggered, what happens? The horse stumbles on a snake or a garden hose or barbed wire. It's triggered. Subconscious is triggered. The horse is in control. Your subconscious is driving something in that bad habit that's causing you to get stuck in this comfort zone, right? That's why I didn't want to get out and take this cold shower. My brain said, it's comfortable here. To get out, I had to do something. I had to literally walk into the uncomfort, which I believe is the ultimate form of courage. Stepping into something voluntarily, even when it's uncomfortable. In fact, I know this, the quality of your life, the success that you have is in direct proportion to how much uncertainty or discomfort your brain is willing to tolerate. That's massive. You might want to write that down. Your success and happiness is in direct proportion to how much uncertainty or discomfort your brain is willing to tolerate. But subconscious runs the show. It really does. It runs everything, guys. It's like a few years ago, I had this problem. And see, studying, I kind of slipped up there a minute. And I didn't slip up, but I just had a different thought process. Come on, give me a break here. Give me some grace. So I'm going to give myself some. Just hang on. A few years ago, I had this problem. See, subconscious is hard to spot sometimes. It's hard to recognize what is really causing the pain in our lives. The subconscious is the stuff causing the pain, but the subconscious is hard to find. It's like a few years ago, I had this problem with my hip. And I had all this pain in my hip, and I couldn't function properly. My hip was sore. I was in so much pain, I couldn't do things. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, there's nothing wrong with your hip. He literally ran every test under the book and came back and said, Brandon, there's nothing wrong with your hip. And I said, but doc, I have all this pain. There's something going on. Nothing wrong with your hip. Sorry, I don't know what it is. I got a second opinion. Second doctor said the same thing. I walked into a physical therapist's office and she said, there's nothing wrong with your hip. And I said, I know, but I have all this pain. What's going on? And she said, there's something wrong with your left foot, specifically the way you walk, and it's not strong enough. You're overcompensating, and so all the weight's going on your hip. And that's the problem. She literally spent the next 3 months working on my left foot. I did exercises, I did things with tennis balls, I did exercises with my pinky toe, and all of a sudden, all that work on my left foot caused the pain in my right hip to go away. Is that crazy? How many of you have had something like that with your body? Well, mentally, it's the same thing. What's going on? What's the pain? Maybe it's financial pain. Maybe it's not going to the next level in your business. Maybe it's your team not being as effective. What's the pain going on? And what's causing it? What's the left foot? What's the left foot with your bad habit? What's the subconscious area that you're not aware of? Well, that's where we come in. We have a tool. This is an amazing tool. It's based on what's called axiology. Axiology is a scientific tool that measures how you think, your subconscious thoughts. Wouldn't it be cool if you could identify the left foot and see it on paper? Like you could literally see the left foot, all the stuff that's creating issues on paper. We have an assessment tool, the only one in existence that measures how you think. It's not a personality test. It's not a behavior test. It measures how you think as accurately as a thermometer measures the temperature. And you can take this assessment at BrandonBarberCoaching.com, www.BrandonBarberCoaching.com. Then, here's what's cool. We have an event. We have different events scattered all over the US and Canada. You can see them on our event page on BrandonBarberCoaching.com, but then get to an event. Take that assessment that's literally showing you all that stuff that's going on, and let us at one of our workshops, we have a Fearless and Infinite Potential workshop, let us show you what it is that's going on that's creating the issue with that assessment, and then how to break free of that, how to change your subconscious thought process so you can start getting better results. So you can get to that next level in your business, so you can make more money, so you can help more people, so you can help yourself, so you can create better relationships, so you can be happier in life, so you can find more joy and passion in every day. So I'd love to be the one to help you. I'd love to be your secret weapon in this. You take your assessment. It takes 10 minutes. It's this crazy, wacky, kooky assessment that literally tells you how you're thinking. And then get to an event. And we made them very inexpensive, but don't let that price fool you. There are $1,000, $1,500 events that we've reduced dramatically so you can get there and get this training and get this knowledge so you can get to that next level faster and quicker. Guys, it's my dream, it's my passion, it's my goal to help people get unstuck, to help people get out of the place they're in, the rut they're in, to get to that next level, but doing it happily, doing it with more peace and more joy. I'd love to be the person to help you to do that. It's been my pleasure. I know I've gone on and on way over the time I probably was allotted. Thank you for your time. Leaders in the room, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this. Anybody out there, thanks for hearing this. And remember, success is a conscious choice. Choose wisely. Take care.